Hey there, you wonderful people. I just wanted to let you know that there is a discussion of sexual violence and rape in this episode. If it doesn't feel safe for you right now, that is totally fine. Please skip right through. If you do continue to watch or listen and find any of this discussion triggering, you can find links to 24/7 support services in our show notes.
So the CNN published the results of a months-long undercover investigation. And it uncovered that a private Telegram group of nearly 1,000 men coaching each other on how to drug and rape their wives. It's on a pornography website with 62 million visits in a single month, hosting more than 20,000 videos of women being assaulted while unconscious. And the legal system has so far done almost nothing to stop any of it. There's other things. So this mainstream pornography website is called motherless.com, which had approximately 62 million visits in February 2026 alone, with its core audience from the USA. On it, there are more than those videos tagged as sleep content, which is, as the name suggests, shows videos of women who are unconscious. There's a tag called #iCheck, which refers to men lifting the closed eyes of sedated women on camera to prove that they're fully unconscious before the assault begins, and some of those videos have over 50,000 views. This is not happening on the dark web. This is happening on a website with the traffic numbers of a major media publication. So this makes me feel really, really sick. I've written a few words down that I'd like to share with you guys, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I read the CNN report on what they're calling the Rape Academy, and it has honestly made me feel so sick, and it has stayed with me in a way that I didn't expect. As a mother of 2 young boys, and as someone who has seen people I care about go through abusive relationships, it didn't feel distant or abstract. It felt close, too close. Because what stuck with me most is that these stories are not about strangers. They're about trust being broken in the most personal, intimate spaces, often by someone who is supposed to be safe. Hearing about women being harmed while they're unconscious and that kind of abuse being shared, encouraged, and even taught online is deeply unsettling. Not just because it exists, but because somewhere along the way it has been made to feel acceptable in a certain corners of the world. And that's what I can't shake, the normalization of something so clearly wrong. It brings me back to my own home, to the small everyday moments of raising my boys. The conversations we have, the values we try to model, the way we teach them to treat others. It reminds me that respect, consent, and empathy aren't just things we mention once. They have to be lived, repeated, and reinforced in quiet and consistent ways. And I think about these people I've known who don't always have the words at first, who question themselves, who carried things silently because it's not always obvious and it's not always easy to name. That's part of what makes this so heavy. The harm is real and often so hidden. I don't want to live in fear, and I don't want to raise my children in fear, but I do want to raise them with awareness and compassion and with a clear understanding of what it means to care for another person's safety and the dignity, because for many people, this isn't just something on the news. This is something that they've lived. That's why it matters that we pay attention and we do better starting at home.
Beautiful words, Gracie.
Thanks, Gracie. That's all right.
I think you've summed up everything beautifully. I've got 2 things. When you were reading out even the summary of what happened, it makes me physically just really uncomfortable and feel quite sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also want to, so 2 things from me. If you're a man listening, I'm done with this, not all men. So that statement needs to stop now, because we all know that.
Yeah,
we all know that. We've got brothers, fathers, sons.
Yeah.
We know that it's not all of you. But unfortunately, why we are so frustrated is that we feel on our own and having the guts to keep talking about this. So if you're listening, or if this if you're a male influencer or a man with a platform in New Zealand right now, your silence is deafening and it is weak. I have seen hardly anyone, it makes me furious, have the guts to speak up. This is your time. The fact that I've seen hardly any man with a profile in this country stand up. It's not controversial. I'm so sick of it being women like me right now yelling. I want men to yell with me. So yes, we know it's not all of you, but not all of you are doing enough. and we're sick of it. So hurry up.
Whew.
How do we follow that?
That was a good rant room, though. It was good.
I'm like, yeah, I'm right in there. I know, and I think the only time I have seen, and I don't mean all men, obviously.
No,
but the only time I've seen any sort of kōrero, talanoa about anything of this scope, nothing really about this in particular, Rape Academy. But I see people like sort of picking and choosing what part of this story they want to maybe comment on, whether it's the male loneliness epidemic or whatever that is, you know. And I think, guys, we can't talk about just that section of what's happening in society right now and what men are comfortable saying and thinking about women. We have to zoom out and speak about it all the time, not just the bits you think you've got good commentary on. I think it's really important for you to just share those. I see the only male influencers I have ever seen speak about anything close to this, not saying this in particular, are usually men that have daughters. And isn't that a real shame? So maybe a man that never has a daughter never has a thought in their mind that maybe a woman's safety is something they need to think about more than just their own. I feel this all the same feelings. I almost was getting emotional listening to you guys talk. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but it's like everyone has an experience.
Yeah.
Everyone has an experience. And when you hear a number like 62 million, and that's not to say every one of those visits was to that section of the site.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But to think a site with that much traffic has an area, a facet of it that anyone can access that has something so vile, that makes me feel like it could be anyone I know. And that's scary.
Yeah, that's really scary.
And the other thing you could say is, well, most people in the US, great. Well, that's one site. We've uncovered
the leader.
We've uncovered one site.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think it's really important, and we need to sort of also remind ourselves of everyday sexism and everyday misogyny and things that are just that you might think are not even at the scale of this. And yes, there are things that are not the scale of this, but we've got to start calling out, and men do too, calling out the daily shit.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think that the behaviours and in this instance, this is what we're talking about, the way men treat women, if you don't start being more aware of how you speak to women or how your mates speak or joke or do anything about women, then you are part of the problem, right? And, you know, I was actually going to talk about last week I had went to that wonderful show, Helen Clark in 6 outfits. And it was at the one of the ASB Theatre at the Waterfront, and it was a fantastic play. It was so good. Helen Clark is my favourite Prime Minister of all time. And the play was fantastic. But what was in the play? Or, you know, and because it was based on her actual life, all of the sort of historic misogynistic comments about her looks, her clothes, her leadership, all of that. And so when I see that, and then it was the same with when I was watching former Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, when I was watching her doco, the bits now that get me that really hurt my heart are when you see that sexism and that shitty behaviour, that really sort of awful way that women are treated, and it makes me so angry. I have the next story. I have permission to share the next story from my mum. This literally happened last night, and we're in Taupo, right? She goes to the hot pools. Has a lovely time at the hot pools. She starts chatting to this gentleman, right? So actually, age doesn't matter. But mum's 70, this guy's 65. They're chatting. She thinks that this is a lovely conversation. They're chatting for like 2 hours in the pools, right? It's like, really, really nice. She did think, maybe we might swap numbers, down here a bit. Anyway, they're chatting for a couple of hours, okay? Gets to the end of the hot pools. I think they're about to close. And a couple of things happen. He says that she has fantastic breasts. Now, I should say fully grown men, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he touches my mum without consent in the water in the pool. And when she reacts, he goes, "Oh, have a nice life then."
Oh my God.
So,
What an asshole.
this is the kind of shit, like, so mum comes home, she's
Upset.
really upset.
Yeah.
Really, really upset that at the end of a 2-hour conversation, this guy thinks he can comment on her boobs,
Copper grab.
copper grab, and
Yeah.
ask for a pash. Actually, sorry, that was the third thing.
Oh, no, for passion.
And like, and so then
At
when
least
she
she asked about that.
It didn't just go in.
And so
Jeez.
and she was, as you can imagine, ruined her night. Now, the other thing though that she like was really upset about, she thought, I couldn't help but think, right? I'm a strong, like I can, and I'd be the same, right? We forget. I'd happily tell someone to fuck off, in that circumstance. But we aren't all built of that kind of the same structure of being like, not all women have the same levels of strength in terms of that being what you would react to. So we were just thinking, what if it wasn't a woman that was able to, that felt comfortable telling him to get fucked?
Exactly. After spending 2 hours of thinking that you're chatting, flirting, getting to know someone.
And in a safe space.
It should be, it's in public.
You're at a fucking hot pools.
Yeah. There's kids around.
Actually, that's the other thing that we all do and society does. We actually go, it's at a hot pools. We sort of put all these parameters out. It doesn't matter where it was.
No, it doesn't matter.
matter where it was. And that's that whole thing again about what we teach around consent and conversations and respect.
And dignity.
And it's even like, me having my yell before because I'm so pissed off with famous men that should be doing more about this, is that where were they all about the men? Like, no one's speaking about any bad shit that men do. No, I hardly see any men speaking about the Epstein files. I hardly saw any men in New Zealand speaking about the Manosphere doco. It's just bullshit. Lonely. Try harder.
Yeah. Well, I hope Joe's okay. That does not sound
do you know
good.
what? As I say, she was really upset.
She was.
And I was like, well, we're talking about the dirtbag men out there, so
Yeah.
And do you know what, though? It's one of those things, too. You realise someone like Joe Kane, who is not afraid to tell you how she thinks, and like you say, is feels empowered to tell you to F off.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's rocked her to her core just shows what it can do to anybody.
Yeah.
And your trust. It's like you're just want to think the best of people and like, oh, maybe he might ask me on a date or for my number first before trying to grab my ass.
Yeah, grabbing your ass.
Yeah, where's the
And
gentleman?
it's just awful.
Ugh.
So yeah, I think, thank you for your beautiful words.
Yeah, thanks, Gracie. I think you summed it up perfectly.
And let's just stay angry, because honestly, we have to.
Yeah.
If we're doing this
And keep talking about it, because even when we talked about last week, I talked to my partner, I talked to a couple other guys. They hadn't heard about it. You talked to some of your co-hosts and you probably talked to, and it's like, oh, they didn't know about it, which is a good thing. But it's like, that's also, they need to keep talking to their mates about what the fuck is this content online? It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not on their radar because no one that they probably follow or the content that they consume are talking about it. So that's what and so I get what you mean by they do need to talk about it more, because, and for us, you go, what do you mean? I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah, and because we're afraid.
Yeah.
We read up about it because as women, we are fucking terrified.
So I wonder if it's like, it's on me, and I think you guys need to be more curious and seek more information about that. Like, if you hear a headline, like, read the article.
Yeah.
or
read
I don't
more.
know, just listen to women.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sit down, I've got something to say.
Okay.
The microphone, let her finish.